So hi everyone, again, thank you for having me here. My name is Giulia and I'm a content creator, which is probably one of the trendiest words to say nowadays. As you said, my videos have been watched only on YouTube more than 125 million times. And even though I create content, when I do not do that, I'm actually an HR business partner in a tech company in Berlin, in Germany, which I can imagine it can be quite surprising. So stick with me for a little. So I'm gonna give you my little story. See, I think I knew exactly who I wanted to be really early on in my life. And it all makes sense now. At the age of 7, I went with my family to a trip to London to visit some friends. And even though it was only my second year of learning English, I was able to translate things for my parents, to actually order for them at the restaurants, to attend a class in elementary school fully taught in English, and to solve, those misunderstandings and miscommunication that happen through language barrier. And something inside of me sparkled during that trip. I was only 7 years old, but something happened inside of me. I really felt I belonged there. I really felt I belonged to a place that is now my home country, that is surrounded by a lot of cultures and where I speak different languages. So, what I did at the age of 7, I went to my parents and I told them, Mom, Dad, one day I'm going to move abroad, like for good. And of course, my parents didn't believe me. I was only 7 years old, right? But I was sure inside of me. And now I'm here speaking to you more than 20 years later, and I'm living my life in Italy, India, and Germany. And I'm extremely thankful to little Julia for having that vision. But it wasn't that easy. Even though I knew exactly who I wanted to be really early on, it was like a big struggle because I wanted to fit with everyone else around me, right? I wanted to have the life that everyone else had, and I wanted to be accepted by everyone so badly. So I would try to adopt exactly what everyone else was doing, even though deep inside of me, I knew that I wanted something different. And I was doing that while I was making consciously and unconsciously really powerful decisions for my own life. So deep inside, I was following my own path, but on the outside, I was trying to be like everyone else because I wanted again to be accepted. Eventually, there was a moment where I would get mad at myself because I would say, Julia, it would be much easier if you would adopt the life that everyone has. Everyone will accept you. You will be absolutely fine. Instead of choosing to have your own path, because that is much more difficult. People will not understand you. But eventually, after a lot of years of suffering, I decided that it was time to leave everyone and everything behind and just move abroad. But this didn't happen without any efforts. I spent my entire childhood and teenage years translating English songs from English to Italian to learn English even faster. I would spend hours watching all the MTV shows repeatedly, subtitled in English. I would beg my parents to send me on school trips abroad. And so, eventually I realized, okay, it all makes sense. Now I need to make a choice for myself and I need to just choose my own path to find my own fit. And my own fit is not here, it's not with the people I'm surrounded by. So after sending like thousands of applications online from my bedroom in Italy, I finally found a job abroad and I moved. And a lot of people may make you feel like moving abroad is glamorous. It's definitely amazing and I'm still loving that. But of course, the first weeks and the first months were extremely challenging. See, I was the first person in my family to move abroad. So I was experiencing a lot of emotional blackmailing from loved ones, and they had the best intention, but they really wanted me to stay at home, to have the life that everyone else had. I would receive these comments saying, "Why can you not be like your friends? Like, why do you have to be away from us to be happy?" And I was always telling them, this is me, this is my own path, so it's extremely important for me. I would, hear also comments of people thinking that the fact that I would move abroad was actually an escape that I was looking for from reality, but it was not. It was actually a move to get closer to my own identity. So yeah, I moved abroad and I lost some friends on the way, some old friends, because they couldn't understand the choices that I had made. And eventually that was fine. I realized that that was actually what I needed to happen. And, I thanked little Julia, because even though I was going through challenges, she had a vision at the age of 7, and she worked towards that. And, as probably you have heard from my profile, throughout those years, I studied foreign languages because I wanted to be able to speak to different cultures. And then I picked political science because I wanted to understand how do you work in a diplomatic world where different cultures are brought up together. And I was doing that while a lot of people were telling me, you're going to be jobless. Like, why are you studying political science? But I was trusting my own gut feeling, and I was trusting my own choices. So yeah, I moved abroad, and after the first, challenging months, I eventually started my career. My career became successful. And after a few years of this successful career, I decided that I wanted to switch roles. I was an executive assistant, and I decided I wanted to enter the world of human resources, of HR. And that was because I wanted to ensure that the experience I went through, in looking for my path and being true to myself and trying to find a fit for myself, I was trying to make sure that I could share it with other people. And I thought that back then, and still now, I think that for me, the most impactful role within an organization is an HR role. So that's what I did. I moved to an HR role a few years ago, and it quickly became my whole identity. I'm still really passionate about it, reason why I still have it as my job. And I started spending a lot of hours coaching people one-on-one, listening to them, trying to help them find their own path within the organization. And that made me so happy. But eventually, even though I was making an impact on them and on a lot of people in the organization, I felt like I wanted to make a much bigger impact. I wanted to have a much bigger audience. And interestingly enough, during that time, I was taking acting classes, and I was taking acting classes just to, be able to express myself, have fun, have some sort of like creative outlet during my professional life. And my husband, after a few months of these acting classes, told me, you should be in front of the camera. You should share your personality and your energy with other people, with way more people than the people that know you at work or your friends. And that's when the content creation journey started. And it made me, since the beginning, it still is making me extremely happy, because I was having this HR identity, and the HR identity was everything for me. But eventually it became too small. I wanted an additional identity. So I found this additional identity as a content creator. And even though a lot of people think that having multiple identities might mean that they are competing with each other, my experience is that they actually complete each other. And yeah, I'm extremely thankful to little Julia for having that vision, back then, because probably if we go back to the beginning of my talk, and what I was telling my vision was to live abroad, to meet new cultures, to speak new languages. Eventually the choices that I made were exactly towards that. Even though back then I was confused, like there was a lot of noise around me. I was giving into the pressure around me, but still I made the choice to study foreign languages. I made the choice to study political science. And what's happening right now is that I live abroad. So that's checked. I speak multiple languages, that's checked. I impact a lot of people, a lot of different cultures, that's checked. And I work as an HR person in a company that has a product that teaches foreign languages. So you can imagine how much this resonates with me. And the content I create, I try to build content together with my husband, Trey, where we bring the Italian and Indian cultures together. So that resonates even more with me, right? So all these dots have connected, but it wasn't, just randomly. It was because I made really powerful choices with myself, for myself and for my own path. So if there is one thing that I want to stick with you today, is exactly that. It's exactly that you have to fit with your own self. You don't have to fit with everyone else. It's okay to be different. You don't have to follow the path that everyone else is following. Even though you're going to have a lot of pressure around you, you have to try your best not to give in to the pressure. You have to look inside of you and make those little choices for yourself that are going to be extremely impactful, not only for you, for your friends, for your family, but eventually going to be impactful for everyone else around you. If you think about it, in my example, if I would have just had the identity in HR, I would have been able to impact the people in my organization, which is quite a big one. But I wouldn't be able to impact all the people that are now reaching out to me through my content. So all those little choices are extremely important. And if you're passionate about something, you have to make choices also towards that. You have to take those little steps towards that. It's like if you're an engineer and you're passionate about fashion, let's bring that example. It doesn't mean that you can't follow your passion. Maybe you can be an engineer in a fashion company, right? You're still being an engineer. You still are respecting your passion and you're bringing them together. Or maybe you're a doctor, or you want to become a doctor and you like creating content, and the content you create helps you reach out to more people than your patients because you're sharing your knowledge. So we really need to stop thinking that our job is our whole identity. We need to really ensure that we find additional identities, because the more identities you have, the more fulfilled you're going to feel. And I'm not here for saying this is an easy process, right? Making choices is really difficult, even more when people do not understand you. But it's a really rewarding journey. It's a never-ending journey. It didn't end for me. You have to look for your own path and make your choices towards yourself perpetually. But I feel, and I'm pretty sure it's the most rewarding for yourself, also for the life of others. Thank you.